Good evening, Zimbabwe. This is Change Radio News. Today is Tuesday, 11 November 2025. The news is read by Divine Nambira. Here are the news headlines. Magaya granted bail. 2 Chinhoyi University students abducted and tortured ahead of SRC elections. Civil society launches national survey on 2030 term extension. And now for the news in detail. Harare High Court Judge Justice Gibson Mandaza has granted Walter Magaya $3,000 bail. The Prophetic Healing and Deliverance PhD church leader was arrested last week, facing rape and fraud charges linked to a failed housing scheme. Magaya denies all allegations. 2 Chinhoyi University of Technology students, Malvin Saint and Lyndon Zanga, were reportedly abducted on Monday at Mzimba Shopping Center by unidentified men in a grey Isuzu with no number plates. Witnesses say the same vehicle had earlier been distributing Zimbabwe Congress of Students Union Zikosu campaign materials. The 2 students, who are members of Zimbabwe National Students Union ZINASU, were campaigning ahead of the university's Student Representative Council elections. The Zimbabwe Solidarity Movement, a coalition of political and civil society activists, has launched a nationwide survey to measure public opinion on ZANU-PF's reported plan to extend Emmerson Mnangagwa's term by 2 years. Branded a people's referendum, the campaign began on Saturday in Chitungwisa's Ward 3, where 584 residents participated in the first round of voting. Participants are asked to cast a yes or no ballot on whether Mnangagwa's term should be extended to 2030. The initiative comes amid rising political tension, with opposition parties and some ZANU-PF members opposing the proposed term extension. Campaign organizer Stephen Chuma said the survey will be conducted nationwide in the coming weeks. Former Minister and academic Nkosana Moyo says some Zimbabweans are not challenging the system for real change, but to gain entry into it. He argues this mindset cuts across the political divide, from disgruntled insiders to figures in civil society, opposition, and the media. Moyo says the real goal for many is not reform, but access to power and privilege, citing examples like ZANU-PF activist Godfrey Senengamu, who has shifted positions over time. The medical superintendent at Masvingo Provincial Hospital, Dr. Noel Zulu, has called on police to investigate a suspected syndicate allegedly falsifying records to steal antiretroviral drugs. A whistleblower found 10 patients repeatedly listed on the same dates between January 2023 and June 2025, each receiving identical ARV quantities, sometimes up to 180 tablets. Dr. Zulu described the case as a sophisticated operation and pledged full cooperation with law enforcement. The probe follows the suspension of senior nurse Mo Blessing Munyira earlier this year for allegedly stealing drugs and forging prescriptions. A public health crisis is unfolding for villagers evicted from Arnold Farm near Mazoe Dam. They are now stranded without access to clean water. During a visit to the area, the dire situation became clear. People and animals are now competing for the same scarce water resources. The community's only well has been cut off by the farm's new owner. Among the homeless are 21 villagers, including Rumbidzai Mataka, a mother of 3. She is one of 6 women now forced to breastfeed their infants on the roadside along the Harare-Bindura highway. The villagers, who had lived on the farm for nearly a decade, say they are struggling to come to grips with their new reality. A report by Transparency International Zimbabwe TIZ has revealed that the country's health sector is being crippled by budget underutilization, procurement delays, and stalled infrastructure projects threatening service delivery. The Trend Analysis Report, Procurement Performance in Zimbabwe's Health Sector 2020 to 2024, highlights persistent challenges linked to weak procurement systems and lack of transparency. The Auditor General also flagged unexplained variances between Treasury and Ministry records. TIZ warned that in Zimbabwe's volatile economic environment, timely and transparent procurement of essential medicines, equipment, and services is not just an administrative task, but a life-saving necessity. Gumbo Holdings Chief Executive Officer Ropafadzo Chidau, aged 30, and Bushumi Security Director Edgar Nehanda, aged 44, appeared in Harare Magistrate Court on fraud charges. They are accused of using a fake board resolution to pose as directors of Broadway Investments and secure a High Court order to attach property belonging to Macrocell Zimbabwe. No property was seized as the company lacked sufficient assets. The state granted each $300 bail, and the pair were remanded to December 5. Their accomplice, Tawanda Magudze, remains at large. The Consumer Protection Commission, CPC, has signed a Memorandum of Understanding with the Securities Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe to strengthen consumer protection in the financial sector. CPC Chief Executive Officer Zororo Muranda says the partnership will ensure consumers are informed, treated fairly, and protected when using financial products. The Securities and Exchange Commission of Zimbabwe SECZIM Acting Chief Executive Officer Grace Berejena adds the collaboration will help prevent violations of consumer rights. The Memorandum of Understanding sets a framework for handling complaints, regulatory oversight, and financial education, promoting transparency and accountability in Zimbabwe's markets. And in news from local communities, residents of Epworth and child rights organizations are calling for urgent action against Kwatafi Bar after a 15-year-old boy, Tatenda, was found drinking there following a runaway incident. Police say they recovered $1,000 allegedly stolen from his grandfather. Groups such as Springs of Life Zimbabwe and Shangwari Yengwanasikana warn the bar exposes minors to alcohol, drugs, sexual exploitation, and violence, and are urging arrests, and license cancellations for repeat offenders under Section 81 of the Constitution. Advocates stress that strict enforcement should be complemented with safe recreational spaces and youth programs to address the underlying causes of juvenile delinquency, including poverty and lax supervision in efforts. In international news, a popular Malian TikToker has been publicly executed by suspected jihadists. Mariam Cisse, who had over 100,000 followers, was known for her videos supporting the National Army. She was seized while live streaming from a market. Her brother was forced to watch as she was shot in a public square after being accused of informing on the militants. The killing has shocked a nation already grappling with a severe fuel blockade imposed by jihadist groups, which has brought daily life to a standstill. And finally, in sports news, Chris Romario Musekiwa has called on Zimbabwe Warriors fans to support new coach Mario Marinica. The Romanian, who joined 2 weeks ago on a 12-month contract, replaces Michael Nice and will lead the team into next month's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco. Musekiwa says fans should rally behind Marinica as Zimbabwe prepares for friendly matches against Algeria and Qatar and tough AFCON group matches against Egypt, South Africa and Angola. To end the news bulletin, here are the headlines once again. Magaya granted bail. 2 Chinhoyi University students abducted and tortured ahead of SRC elections. And civil society launches national survey on proposed 2030 term extension. And that concludes our bulletin for today. We thank you for listening. From myself, Divine Nambira, and the entire team at Change Radio, we wish you a blessed night.